What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Dude Hines Show. I'm live on YouTube right now, doing the Sunday. Each Sunday we do a Bengals 7-round mock draft. Past couple of episodes, I've been doing two Bengals 7-round mock drafts. I'm going to continue to do that. So we'll be doing two 7-round Cincinnati Bengals mock drafts on today's episode. Like I said, we are live right now on YouTube. So, I guess we'll go ahead and get started here. With the Bengals, there's lots of possibilities with to do, if Pitts is available, if Penei Sewell is available. It's really interesting if Jamar Chase, if we go hit him. Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, there's lots of people. The possibility at 5, but to me, for number 5, there's only 3 players that I would want at number 5. If we don't take one of those 3 players, I would be upset. I would be happy with Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, or Penei Sewell. If it's not one of those 3 guys, I would be really upset because those are immediate impact players, for the Bengals. So we'll go ahead and start here. 1 through 4, Trevor Lawrence, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith. So Penei Sewell and Kyle Pitts are available right here. So we have a trade offer from the Colts, 2 first-round picks, and a second-round pick. I'm not going to do that. This is not a bad trade. 2 first-round picks and a second. The Patriots' first-round pick this year and next year, and their second-round pick next year. If Penei Sewell was gone, I would maybe consider this. I know I've done mock drafts before where I've got Kyle Pitts, with a trade with the Patriots, and I've got him at 15. But, looking at some people like scouts, they're really, really high on Kyle Pitts. I've seen some people have him the second or third best prospect in the draft. So realistically, we won't, get Pitts at 15 if we were to trade back here with New England. So I'm not going to do that either. And then here, I'm not going to do this one. That's 15 spots back. Anybody you want, basically, is going to be gone. We would get their first-round pick next year and their second-round pick. The Bears, you don't know. I would say their first-round pick next year is going to be around the 16 and 20 range, kind of like it is right here with number 20. I'm not going to do that trade either. To me, it's either between Kyle Pitts and Penei Sewell. I really, really like Pitts. He's one of my favorite prospects in the draft. But I guess we'll go Penei Sewell here because it's a more team need. He's the best offensive lineman. And most people think that in the draft he would be a significant upgrade to our offensive line group. But I would have no issues if we took Pitts. I know some people may be really mad if we took Kyle Pitts over Penei Sewell. I would not be mad at all because, like I said, 3 players I want: Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase. I would be happy with any of those 3. So with our first-round pick, we will take Penei Sewell. And as of right now, I really think that's going to happen. I've done, mock drafts. My mock draft Monday where I do, first-round mock drafts. It's been in top 10, top 15, top 25, and just last week I did a full first-round mock draft. I've done, Penei Sewell to the Bengals lots of times, and, people have said, that you're just wanting that to happen. I really think that's going to happen. Look, number 1 is going to be Lawrence. Number 2 will be Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. 3, in my opinion, I think it'll be Devontae Smith, but even though I think Jamar Chase is much better, I do think it'll be between one of those 2 receivers. And then you look at the Falcons. That is the team to kind of watch out for. I know they've drafted some offensive linemen recently, not past year or so. But I think that's the team to watch out for. But I honestly think Atlanta, number 4, or Atlanta, whoever picks number 4, I think it's going to be quarterback. I've said that a lot, and I truly believe it. So I really think Sewell will end up at number 5. It's just a matter if we take him or not. Because if it's between Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase, that's where that's really, really interesting. Because let's say we do sign Joe Thuney. The Joe Thuney, that the rumors about that, those are starting to pick up. And now it's actually looking like we have a possibility, signing Joe Thuney. But we signed Joe Tooney, I would not be upset if we, took Chase or Kyle Pitts over Sewell at number 5. But I just really think Penei Sewell will end up at number 5. And if Sewell and Jamar Chase are both available, that's going to be really, really interesting to see, what we kind of do there. So as we go to the second round here, some of the players took Tyson Campbell, Richie Grant, Tevin Jenkins, Aleem McNeil, and Wyatt Davis. Wyatt Davis, that pick really sucks because, if he was available at 38, he was going to be my pick. But Wyatt Davis in the second round, that kind of goes back to Joe Tooney, because let's say we take Wyatt Davis, if we sign Joe Tooney, we don't have to take Wyatt Davis. Especially, Wyatt Davis, Joe Tooney, and Penei Sewell, you go from a horrible offensive line to a year or two, top 10 at least. That would be young guys, one of the best guards in the NFL. But Wyatt Davis, that kind of really, really sucks there. So we go with defense here. See some edge rushers. Jason Alway, I think that's how you pronounce it. Jalen Phillips. Somebody I really like is Patrick Jones. And, I'm not going to pick him here, but I've seen stuff of him that he's rising. If we were maybe to trade back in the second round and take Patrick Jones, I'll be really happy with that. I don't really have position, rankings right now. The only one I have done is quarterbacks, and I'll probably be making a video about that within a week or so. But, I've scouted some edge rushers, and Patrick Jones is on just about the top of my list. He's a sack machine. Every other play seems like he's pressuring the quarterback or sacking him. So, he's somebody to watch out for if we were to trade back in a scenario. Corner, that's a big issue. Because obviously, William Jackson is a free agent, and so is Mackenzie Alexander. And lots of people want us to sign Joe Tooney, including myself. But let's say we sign Joe Tooney, we're not going to have enough money to sign Joe Tooney and re-sign William Jackson and Carl Lawson. To me, I would rather sign Carl Lawson, re-sign Carl Lawson than William Jackson. But if we sign Tooney, it gets really interesting, because it's just kind of a matter of who did the Bengals value more, William Jackson or Carl Lawson. I think they value Lawson a little bit more. So if we don't sign William Jackson, we really need to get a corner, because, like I said, Mackenzie Alexander is a free agent as well, and Trey Waynes, he has a ridiculous contract. We're basically just overpaying a Drake Kirkpatrick 2.0 who has yet to play a snap for us. And we have Darius Phillips, who's a free agent 1 year from now. So, corners are really, really, that's a big need, especially if William Jackson were to leave. Something else is a, big need is defensive tackle. We have DJ Reader, who, ended the season on a season-ending injury. And that's all we have. I know some people say, we have Ronell Wren. He's not proven anything because he's been hurt. He's got hurt the past couple of years. But I like some defensive tackles in the later rounds. I like some edge rushers in the later rounds as well. So we're probably going to go corner here. Asante Samuel Jr., I know he's 47 on here, and we picked 38. But some of the rankings on here are really kind of strange to me. I've seen some rankings have Kyle Trask, the quarterback of Florida, really high, and on here he's really low. So, some of these rankings from different websites, they vary a lot, and they're a lot different. But we're going to take Asante Samuel, the corner from Florida State, here in the second round. The best corner available. Obviously his dad was really good. But I think that'd be a good pick. Probably, one of the better players available, one of the best corners available. That is another pick that absolutely sucks. If we did not get Penei Sewell, Dylan Redence from North Dakota State would have been my pick. He's really, really underrated. Started to get some, hype around the Senior Bowl. Got a trade proposal here. We swapped third-round picks, which that's basically a fourth-round pick. And we get their third-round pick next year. I'm going to decline that. Something to keep in mind, the mock drafts I've been doing for each team. If you haven't checked it out yet, I did a 7-round mock draft of the Lions and the Panthers just yesterday, so make sure to check that out. I've been doing them every single team, and I'm doing the Broncos, Cowboys, and Giants next. I've already done those mock drafts. Those are before compensatory picks have been added to Pro Football Network. So those picks don't include compensatory picks. And this time mock draft, it does. So we'll be picking later than we did last week because since the compensatory picks were added. If you don't know already, I do this on Pro Football Network. This is not my actual mock draft. This is just a simulator, players available and stuff like that. So Dylan Reinon's there. That kind of upsets me because if we did not take Penei Sewell, that's somebody who I probably would have took there in the third round. See some wide receivers here. Dwayne Eskridge, from Western Michigan, he really had a really, really impressive Senior Bowl week in a practice and really nice game. I wouldn't be upset if we took him maybe in the fourth, but he's rising a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the third. Somebody else to keep an eye on is tight end from Miami, Brevin Jordan. He's one of those tight ends who's getting really overlooked by Kyle Pitts. I think Brevin Jordan could be a really nice addition to the team. If he was still available in the third round. See some. There's not really great players available here. I'm trying to see. Amari Rodgers. I was kind of hoping to go maybe Marquez Stevenson from Houston, maybe in the fourth round, because this wide receiver class is absolutely loaded. But I really like Amari Rodgers. He had a nice Senior Bowl as well. I think I might go Amari Rodgers here. That'd be a little not a great pick, but I like it. I think he'd be a nice addition to the wide receiver, core. You have him, T. Higgins, Taylor Boyd. That's a really nice young trio. Obviously, Amari Rodgers, played with T. Higgins at Clemson. So we take Amari Rodgers there in the third round. This trade, we go back 20. We get pick. With the compensatory picks, I honestly do not know what 169, 184 is. Because, with those picks just being recently added the past day or so, I want to decline that trade. So we'll go to all here. And in the fourth round, I'm kind of looking at some edge rushers or defensive tackles. I like Peyton Turner. I also like Shaka Toney. I don't see him here. That's kind of weird. He was, I believe he's 147. But, edge rushers, I like Marvin Wilson. I like Jalen Tallman, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Pittsburgh as well. So we already took, a corner in Asante Samuel Jr. Ambry Thomas here is somebody else to watch out here in the fourth round. Had the best rating, the PFF, in 2019. He even had a better rating. That's according to the Big Ten. We're the best corner in the Big Ten 2019, according to Pro Football Focus. Had a better PFF rating than number 3 pick overall, Jeffrey Okudah from Ohio State. Let's see here. Go to the offense. We already took Penei Sewell here. We're not going to take, wide receiver. We just took one, and Amari Rodgers. I really like Peyton Turner. I know, he's the third, rated edge rusher here. But I'm going to go ahead and take Peyton Turner because I know he's not going to be available with our next pick. I know Shaka Toney will be, but I prefer, Peyton Turner over Shaka Toney. So we'll take Peyton Turner in the fourth round, edge rusher from Houston. Had quite a bit of sacks this past season, with Houston. I think he could be really, really good for us. So we get him in the fourth round. So we have a trade offer here. Our fifth round for their fifth, and our fifth for 2 fifths, and we also trade a 7th. I don't really. That's not bad, but the fact that that's a 23 difference for us, like 150 to 173, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to accept a trade unless it really, intrigues me or it's a really, really nice trade. So we go to all here. I know we took Amari Rodgers in the third round, but if Jalen Darden's in the 6th round, of those of you who have seen my mock draft before, I'm probably going to take him. He's one of my favorite wide receivers. in the draft, and one of my favorite players in general in the draft as well. So I said, in the 5th round, Marvin Wilson, somebody I like. Jalen Tallman. Darius Stills of West Virginia. I also like him as well. I'm going to go Marvin Wilson here. I mean, we picked 150. He's 149. I think that's a pretty good, value pick there. So we take Marvin Wilson, defensive tackle from Florida State, in the 5th round. Defensive tackle, like I said, we have nobody. We have DJ Reader, who's coming off a season-ending injury. We have Ronell Wren, who's been injured. He's not proven nothing. I mean, Geno Atkins is going to be cut. Marcus Hunt, he's a free agent. Xavier Williams picked him up, during this past season. And he's a free agent as well. We could really use some defensive tackle help. I think Marvin Wilson in the 5th round would be a really good pick. Make sure to comment, what do you all think of this mock draft so far? Who's some people that you all like in the later rounds, or who's some players you like in general? Let's see here. So we've took Peyton Turner so far, Penei Sewell, Asante Samuel Jr., Amari Rogers, Peyton Turner, Marvin Wilson. We're picking in the, I believe, the 6th round right now, and we had to pick 192. Trevon Grimes, the wide receiver from Florida. I really, really like him. I was watching some, games of Kyle Trask just a couple of days ago, and the more I watch Trevon Grimes, I mean, he's really underrated, and I think, he gets overlooked by guys like Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts. I might take Trevon Grimes here. I was going to take Jalen Darden if he was available, and, we're on the 6th round here. I know we did take Amari Rogers, but Trevon Grimes, I wouldn't mind him here. Look at some other players as well. I wouldn't be upset even if we took a running back here in like the 6th or 7th round. Look at some tackles available. Defensive players. I really, really like Ellerson Smith, edge rusher from Northern Iowa. And I've said this a couple of times, and I'll continue to say, lots of people talk about Ellerson Smith. He's a small school prospect. Northern Iowa is not a big school. Trey Lance is going to be a top 10 pick, and he's playing like the same, level of football as, Ellerson Smith is. Ellerson Smith's playing at Northern Iowa, and Northern Iowa, they've had players like David Johnson and Kurt Warner play there. So, I mean, they've produced some really, really, big talented players for, a small school like them. Ellerson Smith there is somebody to watch out for. I also like Troy Williams, a corner from Syracuse. He's a really, really hard hitter, which is something you really don't see for corners nowadays. It seems like in the NFL. I mean, completely different from Drake Kirkpatrick. I mean, Drake Kirkpatrick could not tackle, literally nothing. But Troy Williams, he's somebody to watch an eye out for here in the 6th. To me, right here, it's kind of between, in this mock draft, Trevon Grimes and Troy Williams. And I know we already took both of those positions, but you can never have too many good wide receivers. You can never have too many corners. Because like I said, even if we re-sign William Jackson, Darius Phillips is a free agent 1 year from now, and Mackenzie Alexander is also a free agent. We don't know what Trey Waynes will be like because he's not played a snap for us because he was out for the year. I think I'm going to go Troy Williams here, the cornerback of Syracuse. I think that's a good pick. If we took Ellerson Smith or Trevon Grimes, either one of those guys I've been happy with as well. Let's see some wide receivers. And I know I already took one. I really like Jonathan Adams Jr. from Arkansas State. I believe it was Kansas State. Arkansas State played this year. He had a really, really nice game against them. He had multiple touchdowns. Great in that game. So we have 2 7th-round picks, 231 and 233. And, compensatory picks, this is projected compensatory picks. I might take a quarterback here. I know, we have Finley, but I don't know if y'all know this or not. Finley absolutely sucks. But, he cannot throw more than like 10 yards. Somebody I like maybe in this scenario is Ian Book. I know there's lots of, quarterbacks who are available in free agency. But, I wouldn't be upset if we signed A.J. McCarron for a cheap contract. But if we were to like draft Ian Book in the 7th round, I would have no issues with that either. I think Book has potential. I don't think he's going to be like a good starter, but I think he could be a nice backup quarterback. I think he's better than Ryan Finley. I think he has potential. I guess we'll go ahead here, and I'm going to take Ian Book, quarterback of Notre Dame. Ian Book and Ryan Finley could battle it out for the second string quarterback position. I know we had Brandon Allen, but that's the only quarterback I think we would sign in free agency. But I wouldn't be upset there. Like I said, Ian Book in the 7th round, quarterback from Notre Dame. And wide receivers, I mean, just a month or so ago, somebody I really liked was South Dakota State wide receiver Kay Johnson. Now he is absolutely going up draft boards like crazy. A month ago, he was around 290 on Pro Football Network's big board. Now he's around the 140, 150 range. And he was somebody I really liked, but, obviously we're not going to get him now because, he is just rising so much. Going back to the 6th round real quick, I know we not took a tight end. So, somebody who was picked right before us was Quentin Morris from Bowling Green. I think Quentin Morris could be a really, really nice pickup in the later rounds. I mean, George Kittle was a 5th or 6th round pick. I'm not saying Quentin Morris is going to be the next George Kittle, but I think Quentin Morris could be one of those guys in the later rounds who could be really, really good, a low risk, extremely high reward type of situation. So our last pick here in the 7th round. So like I said, we are live on YouTube doing 2 Cincinnati Bengals 7-round mock drafts. This is our first one. This is our last pick of the 1st round here. And we just took a quarterback in Ian Book from Notre Dame. I wouldn't be upset we took a running back here. I mean, there's been, some people want Bernard cut. It would save us some money. P. Ryan played pretty well. Trevion Williams played pretty well in the limited, snaps that he had. But I think I'm going to go Jonathan Adams Jr., the wide receiver from Arkansas State here. I've said this a couple of times. You look at some receivers we've taken in later rounds, we have absolutely done amazing with those picks. Marvin Jones was a 5th round pick. TJ Houshmandzadeh was a 7th round pick. Auden Tate was a 7th round pick. All 3 of those guys have really contributed to the team throughout the years. And I think Jonathan Adams Jr. could be, one of those guys too. Alex Erickson, this year he was really, really bad for us. But in years prior to this season, he was pretty decent. He was an undrafted free agent. It seems like we're really good at finding, talented receivers in the later rounds. So I want to take Jonathan Adams Jr. here, wide receiver of Arkansas State, with our last pick of the 7th round and our last pick of this first Bengals 7-round mock draft. So overall, I think this was a pretty decent mock draft. There was a couple picks, I would have kind of liked to, done differently. White Davis was a pick before us. There's a couple other players that kind of would have liked to get, but, they weren't there when we picked. So overall, Penei Sewell in the 1st, Asante Samuel Jr., the corner from Florida State in the 2nd, Amari Rogers, the wide receiver from Clemson in the 3rd round, Peyton Turner, the edge rusher from Houston in the 4th, Marvin Wilson, the defensive tackle from Florida State in the 5th, Troy Williams, the cornerback from Syracuse in the 6th round, Ian Book from Notre Dame, the quarterback, and in the last round, Jonathan Adams Jr., the wide receiver from Arkansas State. So that was our first 7-round mock draft. So we will now do our second one here. So, it's going to be really, really interesting, with, the combine being at teams, pro days instead. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how it goes out. So we do round 7 here. We're going to go fast so we don't take as long. But this draft, it's going to be really, really interesting. It seems like the past several years, we've not, aside from, us taking Joe Burrow, we have had no idea who we are going to take. With Kwity Paye at number 3, that is just absolutely crazy. That is a horrible pick by the offense. I don't know why that would happen. But, it's going to be really interesting with this draft. There's so many scenarios. Perfect example, Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, and Kyle Pitts are all available at number 5. If you're the Bengals, there's no possible way you can screw that up. Like, I really don't understand how you can. You have, to me, I think you have 2 options. You have one, you draft one of those players, one of the 3, or you trade back to, for instance, just say you trade back at number 9 because Zach Wilson is still available, and he shouldn't be. If a team like the Broncos wants to trade up with you, and they'll give you like a second-round pick or a first-round pick, give you a lot in return, the Broncos are going to take Zach Wilson at our 5th pick here. So 6, 7, 8, all those players would have to be Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell, and Jamar Chase. I really think, in a scenario like that, I would not be opposed to, I'd not be against to trade back, even though all those players, those 3 players are the ones I want the most. I think it would be our best interest if we did trade back, because we would get one of those 3 players more than likely, and a really good pick in return to help our future. If we were offered a pick with the Broncos here, I might do it, but I don't think we are. So we get a offer from the Patriots, swap first, so we get 15, their first next year and their 3rd round next year. I'm not going to do that one. If it was, if they put like number 12 or something like that, number like 10, 12, around that range, I would do it. But 15, that's just kind of, too much. That's too big of a risk. I know you want to get some players in return, picks in return if you trade back, which I really do if we would trade. But, you got to get one of those guys, too, if you trade back. So I'm going to reject that trade here. And the other pick, the Bears give us their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, their 2nd next year, and their 4th next year. I'm going to decline that one. If they were a team who wasn't good, like if this was the Broncos, and if they offered me 9 and their 2nd round pick this year, I would do it, because they only pick a couple picks after us in the 2nd round, and I think that could be a scenario. Looking at this mock draft, the 49ers traded with number 4 to the Falcons, and I've said this multiple times. I think the 49ers may trade up to take a quarterback, but I don't think that's going to be Justin Fields. I think it'll be Zach Wilson. So that's going to be something interesting to see here. Tomorrow, obviously today is Sunday. I'm doing the weekly, Bengals 7-round mock draft like I always do. And we are live on YouTube here. Tomorrow I'll be doing mock draft Monday. First round mock draft of all the teams. I'll try to be doing trades with that, and I'm not guaranteed to be doing it because there's supposed to be a big storm hit around here, so might not have power, but we'll see. But I don't know. This is crazy that Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, and Kyle Pitts are available. And the Broncos, I really wish the Broncos would offer me something there, because I would be shocked if one of those players still were not available. I would be shocked if all 3 of those players were gone at number 9. Because let's say the Broncos take Zach Wilson at number 5. 6, 7, and 8 would have to be Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, and Kyle Pitts. I don't think that would happen. We would still get one of our guys and a good pick. But since we took Penei Sewell here with our 1st round pick in our first mock draft, I will be taking – I really like Kyle Pitts. I like Kyle Pitts way more than Devontae Smith. I like Kyle Pitts. I really like Jalen Waddle too, but he was already took. I would probably like Pitts more than Waddle. I might even like Pitts more than Chase. I really, really like Kyle Pitts. But in the last Bengals mock draft I took Kyle Pitts, I believe. So for the sake of being different, I'll take Jamar Chase, LSU receiver, at number 5 in the 1st round. I think that's a good pick there. Would have really liked to trade back, like I said, but it's really impossible for us to screw that up. Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell. Draft one of those 3 or trade back. It's really that simple, but you can't trade back too far, because, anything after, to me, about 10, 11 is where, you don't want to, risk, getting a 2nd round pick. Okay, you get a 2nd round pick, but you don't get one of those, guys who's really going to contribute to your team. So we got a trade offer here in the 2nd round from the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, we swap 2nd round picks, just 5 picks different. They give us their 3rd round pick next year, and we give them our last pick of this draft. So a 7th round pick. That's not bad. But I prefer picks this year instead of next year because you don't know how next year's draft will work out. But to me, I'm going to reject this one. And 15.15, yeah, I'm not going to do that one for the Titans. We would give up our second round pick and I believe our fifth for their second and their second next year. That's a 15 pick difference. And our second round pick next year is basically going to be like a third round pick because it's going to be so late. I want to reject that one as well. So we're just tuning in here. This is our second mock draft. I'm doing 2 Cincinnati Bengals 7-round mock drafts. In this mock draft with our first round pick, we took LSU receiver Jamar Chase. And in this mock draft, the first one we took Penei Sewell. And the first mock draft of the second round, we took Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback from Florida State. And with our second round pick on this one, I don't think there's much explaining on this one. I want to take Wyatt Davis, a guard from Ohio State. I think he's the best guard in the draft. I mean, it's really be a great pick. This is also kind of a scenario where we don't get Joe Thuney. I mean, if we don't get Joe Thuney and we get, Jamar Chase and Wyatt Davis, it's really good. We even have the option to get Penei Sewell and Wyatt Davis. I mean, if we don't get Joe Thuney, but if we get Penei Sewell and Wyatt Davis, that's really, really good too because both those guys are on rookie deals. It's going to be a lot cheaper than Joe Thuney. So we have a trade offer here. We go back 7 spots. They give us 116, and we give up 192. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at Brevin Jordan here. I see him available. And he's somebody I wouldn't mind because I know we already took an offensive weapon in the first round. But since we didn't get Kyle Pitts, it's kind of like Brevin Jordan here in the third. And I'm not going to do that in my draft. I'm not going to do that trade. We trade back 10 to give us a fourth. We give them their 7th. I don't think that's a good trade at all. I want to decline this one. So we're not going to do that trade. So we're just tuning in. Like I said, this is our second 7-round mock draft of the Bengals. So I see Brevin Jordan, tight end from Miami. I like him a lot. I still like Pitts a lot more. But Patrick Jones is available as well. This is where it gets really interesting. The edge class in this year's draft is so talented. Because when you got Peyton Turner, Quincy Roche, Shaka Toney, Jordan Smith, Patrick Jones, all those guys I really like, and I'd be happy if we got any of them. Those guys should go around probably rounds, 3, mid-4th, something along the lines of that. But Patrick Jones, we also have Liam Eckenberg, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. So this is where this is really kind of one of the best case scenarios. You have 3 guys. As long as you take one of the 3, in my opinion, as long as you take one of those 3 guys, you don't mess it up. It's between Liam Eckenberg, Brevin Jordan, and Patrick Jones. Like I said in my first mock draft, I really, really, really like Patrick Jones. I'd be really happy with him. But I like Jones, but I know we took Peyton Turner in the last mock draft. We can maybe get Shaka Toney in the later rounds as well. Because this edge class is so talented. This is tough. Maybe if we took Brevin Jordan here from Miami, or even Eckenberg. If we took Eckenberg, we can get Quentin Morris from Bowling Green in the later rounds. Or if we took Brevin Jordan, we can get Brady Christensen from BYU. But you don't want to kind of like pick somebody just for the hopes that somebody drops the next round. That's something you should not do when you do mock drafts. But to me, I'm gonna go Brevin Jordan here, tight end from Miami. I like that pick a lot. Any of those 3 guys I'd be really happy with. Eckenberg, Patrick Jones, and Brevin Jordan. Brevin Jordan can really do about just a bit of everything. He's not great at anything, in particular, but he's a really, really, good player. I'd be happy with him in the 3rd round. I think he, will eventually be our starter. Uzama, nobody's talking about it. I wouldn't be shocked that we cut Uzama. whether we drafted somebody high, maybe like a Brevin Jordan, or we signed Gerald Everett from the Rams because Zach Taylor was on the Rams coaching staff with Gerald Everett, the tight end, and Uzama coming off a season-ending injury. The limited games he played, he wasn't bad, but I mean, we are kind of overpaying him. And Drew Sample, that is a huge question mark to me. I mean, I don't think it's worked out at all. So part of the reason I took Brevin Jordan is because, there was still some good offensive tackles available. And of course, Brady Christensen, was not available. I was really hoping it would be here in the 4th round. Edge rushers, let's see here. Quincy Roche, Shaka Toney. This is really tough. Everybody talks about, we should get, whatever the top need is. Edge rusher is a big need too. I kind of talked about in the first mock draft. Corner's a big need. Edge rusher is a really big need too because if we don't sign Carl Lawson, we have nobody. Because Sam Hubbard wasn't bad. He wasn't really good this past season because he was injured, and he's a free agent 1 year from now. So maybe looking at Shaka Toney in the next round if he's not available. I like Quincy Roche a lot here. There's not any great corners here. Wide receivers. I'm not probably going to take a wide receiver because this wide receiver class is so talented. James Hudson from Cincinnati, he's really good. He had a really impressive Senior Bowl, practice and Senior Bowl game. This is tough. I'm gonna go Hudson here from Cincinnati. I know we are in the 4th round here. Our picks so far have been Jamar Chase, White Davis, and Brevin Jordan. This would be our 4th straight pick, staying on the offensive side of the ball. But I think Hudson would be a nice addition to the team. So we're going to take James Hudson, the offensive tackle from Cincinnati here in the 4th round. So let me know what you think, of these mock drafts so far. Comment which ones, you like more, whether it be the first one or the second one. So we've got some players available here on defense. Shaka Toney's available. Also Marvin Wilson. Like both of those guys a lot. So we'll see here. Some corners. I like Robert Rochelle from Central Michigan. I think he's, a underrated corner. He was invited to the Senior Bowl and he played at Central Arkansas, excuse me. You got to be really, really good if you're going to the Senior Bowl and you're playing at that small of a school. Watch his games. He was really impressive, when they played against North Dakota State and Trey Lance. So let's see here. This is really tough because I'm looking at Shaka Toney, Marvin Wilson, and I mean that's right now. That's kind of about who I'm looking at. Somebody next round, if they're available, would be Ellison Smith. I like him, and Darius Stills, but I doubt either one of those guys are going to be available here. And the next round, Jalen Darden. I mean, I don't think that's I don't think I have to explain that one too much. Anybody who's seen a mock draft knows he's one of my favorite prospects. I'll take Shaka Toney here because we took Marvin Wilson in our last mock draft. He's a really, solid edge rusher from Penn State. He would add more depth at edge, especially, Hubbard's not guaranteed to be re-signing with us next season. And, we signed Lawson. That's good and all, but we still need help on edge rushers. So with Malcolm Kunze, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Buffalo, obviously that means Ellison Smith. Ellison Smith in Northern Iowa has been picked. So we see wide receivers, and of course Jalen Darden was picked. That kind of upsets me. If we did not take Brevin Jordan here in the 3rd round, somebody really kept an eye on was Quentin Morris from Bowling Green. This is not looking out good for us. I mean, this is one of the worst case scenario as we go, in the later rounds here. No great defensive tackles. I know we took Shaka Toney, but there's no really great edge rushers. I like Ventrell Miller, but I don't really think we need him here. I want to be against taking him, but I think there's bigger needs. Paris Ford, I like him some. Trey Norwood, I like him some as well. Anthony Schwartz, he's really, really fast. I think, he's a super fast receiver. I know we took Jamar Chase in the second round. Oh, excuse me, the first round. But I think I want to take Anthony Schwartz here from Auburn, a receiver of Auburn. It's really, really, really fast. I mean, you look at John Ross' experiment. Obviously, that did not work out at all. He was fast, and I really wish Jalen Darden was available there because I really think Jalen Darden's the next Tyreek Hill. And if Jalen Darden was in our offense, I think he would be absolutely great for us. So with our last two picks here, this is my draft. This one has not been good. Not even going to lie. Just the players, by our next pick, so many players were gone. I mean, this Jamar Chase, White Davis, Brevin Jordan, that's pretty good. I mean, that's one of the best case scenario in my opinion. We go to the next couple rounds, James Hudson, Tony, Anthony Schwartz. That's not bad compared to our first one. This is really bad. I think the first one's much, much better. Comment what you all think. Which one you think is better. Because I definitely think it's going to be. I definitely think it will be the first one. Let's see here. I'm not going to take a wide receiver more than likely. Because, that'd be 3. That'd just be stupid. Josh Ball from Marshall. That's somebody to maybe keep an eye on in the 7th round. Kind of a local prospect, just a couple hours away. I'm actually like a big Marshall fan. I go to Marshall games. You watch Marshall's offense. He's somebody that really stands out on their team. Absolutely massive, like 6'5", 6'6", 300 some pounds. With a transfer from Florida State. But I think he would not be a bad pick there in the 7th round at all. So at this point, we're not really looking at some great picks. So I like Taron Jackson some from Coastal Carolina. I've watched a couple games with him, but this mock draft has just been really, really bad. Not even gonna lie. Let's see here. I guess we'll take Taron Jackson here. Whoever's available. Honestly, when it comes to players in the later rounds, I've not been able to watch film much. I've watched some, but when it comes to like later round guys, I've not really been able to watch much. Let's see here. So Jamar Chase, White Davis, Brevin Jordan, James Hudson, Tony, Anthony Schwartz, Taron Jackson from Coastal Carolina. Oh, I'll take I didn't see him available. Brian Mills from NC Central. I've seen a game or two of him. I know he's a small school guy. I really like small school prospects, but I think he's somebody who could be decent for us. I believe Darius Phillips was a 5th round pick, and we had a big hit on him. Was really successful. So I think small school prospect. I wouldn't mind Brian Mills from NC Central in the last pick of this mock draft. Let me know what you think. This mock draft, this one was not good at all. The first one was really good. This one was really bad. The first couple rounds were spot on. After about the 3rd round, that's where it went downhill big time. Jamar Chase, White Davis, Brevin Jordan, I would grade A+, A+, A+. Those are all fantastic. Then we go downhill with James Hudson, offensive tackle from Cincinnati, Tony, Anthony Schwartz, Taron Jackson, and Brian Mills to corner from NC Central. The other one, we took Penei Sewell in the 1st round, Asante Samuel Jr. in the 2nd round. I don't remember who we picked in the 3rd. But, so these were kind of my 2 Cincinnati Bengals 7-round mock drafts. Obviously, I do these once a week. I do these each Sunday. I'm going to continue to do these until, the NFL draft happens. I believe we're only 73 days away now, 74 days away from the NFL draft. So there's a lot to look forward to. Like I said kind of earlier, I've been doing Second round mock drafts for each NFL team. I just got done with the Lions and Panthers. Next up will be the Broncos, Cowboys, and Giants. I also do the Bengals ones. Make sure to go check that out as well. I have lots of Bengals videos I've done or do in my playlist on my YouTube channel. And I want to try to get some, draft interviews coming up soon. We'll see. It's going to be, interesting, with the draft coming up, where players, are drafted because, pro days, basically a combine. But it's going to be really interesting with the draft. And I mean, I'm doing lots of mock drafts, lots of different things coming up on the page as well. So make sure to like this video. And if you could subscribe to the channel, I would really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time on the Sports 200 Show.